What's up, y'all? I'm Sheila J, and welcome to the Diva Dish, Mare of Easttown, HBO Max's newest crime thriller starring Kate Winslet, Jean Smart. We're at the penultimate episode, episode 6. Episode 5 was super intense. Let's get into the recap. Lori learns from Ryan that his father is having an affair. Jess, Dylan, and Sean burn all of Aaron's journals. We find out that Dylan has been pulling the strings with Jess, telling her what to say, what to do. She takes a picture from one of the journals before she throws the last one on the fire. So hopefully we'll see a development of that in the next episode. Deacon Mark is harassed and beaten up by these kids in the neighborhood. He confesses to Father Dan that he was in fact with Erin the night she was killed. They interview a young lady that was attacked by a John. She lets them know that she got a partial plate on the van he was driving. So they were able to get a hit. They went to the last one, and that is where Zabel is shot, and so is Mare. But they do find the girls. Mare is able to take Zabel's gun and get Mr. Wayne Potts. Alright, so the episode opens up at the hospital. Mare has just waken up from her, I'm sure, surgery she had. She was shot in the wrist. In the last episode, she wakes up. Helen's there, Siobhan's there, Drew and Frank are there. So in the next scene, we see Katie has been reunited with her mother. She's also been reunited with her daughter. And we cut to Mare. She's at the hospital. She's watching the news, and they're doing this televised memorial to Detective Zabel. And it is then confirmed Zabel is dead. She's watching. Of course, she's moved. I'm sure she probably feels partly responsible because they were following her leads, even though they did yield the recovery of Katie and Missy. You know, it's just unfortunate that Zabel died. Moving on. So is it just me, or is Chief Carter, did he look like he was kind of fun back in the day? I'm just saying. All right, so in the next scene, we see that scene that we've seen in many of the previews. Aaron's bike is being taken out of the lake. And then we cut to Deacon Mark. It's at the station with Chief Carter. So he's like, did you dump her bike in the lake? We would like to think that Deacon Mark got there, through the most noble terms. He just woke up one morning and decided that he wanted to come and confess. No, Father Dan was like, Judge, yeah, I tried to call you, but the line was busy. Deacon Mark was with Aaron, picked her up, dropped her off, probably get a picture of his car, one of these CT, whatever they call these damn cameras now. Yeah, so they do. And he's like, we know it was you. We see, got a picture, you in the car, whatever. So he admitted, he says yes. And he basically tells Chief Carter the same thing that he told Father Dan. I picked her up. She got a text. She asked me to take her to Brandywine Park. So they go to Brandywine Park, and he says he drops her off. So the Chief is kind of just looking at him. And then he says, what happened to your face? So instead of telling the truth, he says he fell. And of course, he's lying. And Chief Carter was like, I don't believe anything you say. And places him under arrest for tampering with evidence. So in this next scene, Mare is getting to, I want to say they're coming to Mare's house because Helen opens the door. So they're upstairs talking, having a beer, and Lori is like, John's cheating. Oh, with who? Sandra? And she's like, yeah, Sandra. Mare's like, don't take him back. He's going to come with the story. And Lori's like, that's my husband. I love him. And it's like, where's he at? And he's like, he's at his dad's house with Billy. She was like, good. Asshole. Agreed. Moving on. But John is at his dad's. So he's moving his bed upstairs, and his dad is helping him. They get it upstairs, and the door opens, and Billy walks in. Baby, Billy is pressed. Billy is hot. Billy is like, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of doing your bidding. Okay? So as soon as he walks in the door, John's bitch ass was like, get up here and help me with this bed. Like, the hell? Billy was like, bruh, with face and all, like, you've made your bed. You can't keep your in your pants. And it's time for somebody to call you on your shit, essentially. You've been getting away with it all your life, and it's time for you to clean up your own mess. Okay? And then he proceeds to walk off. His dad kind of looks at John. So why are you here again? Lori thinks I'm cheating. And so the dad is like, thinks you're cheating or you're cheating. He never says yes. He just goes, he didn't even nod. John ain't new to this. He true to this, okay? He been doing this crap for a long time. Moving on. Mare is watching Chief Carter on television talk about the case, how the FBI is going to be helping, and how, once again, we want to say condolences to Detective Zabel and Colin Zabel and his family. Mare, she's sitting there at home, and she decides to go to Zabel's mom's. Epic fail. She gets there and she comes to the door, and Mare goes into, I just wanted to come and tell you that I'm so sorry that Zabel is dead, that he was a fine investigator. He saved my life. And Mama Sable, baby, did everything short of pulling out a white glove and smacking her on both cheeks. And told her that had it not been for you, my son would still be here. And as a mother of 2 sons, I get it. I would be steam pressed as well. But at the end of the day, Sable was doing his job, which comes with that hazard. Ugh. It's a mess either way, because on the flip side, Mare wasn't even supposed to be doing all that. The only reason she knew that Sable was doing that because he liked her. It was sticky. Moving on. So after Mare leaves Mama Sable's house, she comes home and she is broken, essentially. She already feels bad, of course, about having Sable. I'm sure she feels responsible. And, Mama's response, I'm sure, had her just shook. Yeah, she comes home. Helen hears her come in and comes outside, and she's, comes out of her room. And she's like, Mare, you know what happened? And Mare just breaks down. And Mama was good mama. She was like, come here. It's lovely. Moving on. Mare is talking to Chief Carter. He's essentially telling her that Wayne Potts did not kill Aaron McMillan. He had an alibi. He was actually at his mother's. Yep, kidnappers go see their mamas too. It's been verified per toll ticket stamps or cameras or whatever, child, but it wasn't him. He then goes on to tell her that he sent Hauser home and that she is back on the force. Gives her badge back, and Lady Hawk is about to fly. In this next scene, Richard comes to see Mare. Brought her some Rolling Rocks, something from Coco's, which I heard was a fine restaurant in Pennsylvania. So she's like, are those cold? So they're chit-chatting. He was like, I'm sorry about your colleague. So she tells him that, that night I stood you up on your birthday. I was with him. You stood the boy up on his birthday. Girl, that would have got you good in some places. Anyway, we were just friends, though. It wasn't anything. She didn't have to do all that because they did kiss. She liked him. She knew anyway. So he's like, it's cool. Don't even worry about it. So she then goes on to say that basically I'm a wreck and the relationship is the last thing I need. And he's like, look, you just call me when you're ready. Just hit me up pretty much. Okay, moving on. So we come back to the station and speaking with, I'm guessing, a ammunition expert. And he's telling them where this bullet came from. It was from a gun that was used by cops in the 80s. He said, Mary, your father probably had one. They were last made in 95. Pretty sure that's going to come back at some point. The fact that he was that specific about it. So then they cut to secretary coming in saying that Brianna wants to talk to Mare. So her and Chief Carter go to Brianna's house. She has changed her tune, probably because she's a little steam pressed at Dylan for telling her to get the fuck out last episode when she was pressing him about where, he had been that night. And she says that, Mara's like, you just doing this because you want some time off that assault charge. And she's like, no, I'm not asking for anything. I just want to do what's right for the baby and for Aaron. Really? You mean the Aaron you were trying to stop all in episode 1? Really, girl? I don't buy it. But moving on. All right, so then we cut to the station. It's Mare and Carter. And they are interviewing Daddy Dark Child, Dylan. And he's sitting there, they kind of lure him in under the guise of tying up loose ends. They charge in and let him know, look, sir, we know that you did not stay in the bed that night. Brianna told us, of course, they verified that, they got him on record saying that he went to bed with her. And they were like, well, she just told us that you weren't in the bed. So where were you, slut? And he said, well, yeah, I just left, to ride around and smoke some weed. And they were like, by yourself? And he was like, yeah. What is this about? I thought we were just tying up loose ends. And they went on to tell him that we know that you burned some journals. So then he's pressed. He's like, can I get a lawyer? And Mare was like, you know what? That's really smart. Because you know why? Wayne Potts did not kill Aaron. But you already knew that, didn't you? She said, you go ahead and get that lawyer. Let him know that your alibi has fallen apart. And that you are the prime suspect in a murder case. The murder of Aaron McMillan. Slut. Bye. Toodaloo. Moving on. All right, so then we cut to Siobhan and Ann. God, they're holding hands, and Siobhan is like, yeah, I talked to that lady from Berkeley. And Ann was like, cool, what did she say? You going out there? I'm sure you probably get a scholarship. And, Ann is like, yeah, I don't know if my parents want me to go out there. And she was like, well, did they say that? And Siobhan was like, no, they didn't say that. And she's like, why do you think that? And she's like, I don't know. Maybe I want to stay here because of you. And baby Ann was like, I've had Coles longer than we've been together. I mean, you cool and all, the sex is okay, but I don't want to be the one keeping you, just because it feels good doesn't mean it's meant to last. It's okay. Go on about your way, live your life. She was shook, pressed, and moving on. So then we cut to Carrie. So Carrie is at work at the laundromat. She's looking tired, child, leaning on the damn laundry carts. Her friend is like, you need to pick me up or whatever. Probably had amphetamine or Adderall, something in her little pill bottle. She looked considered, but she said no, she passed. But child, she was like, I'm working tonight till 2 a.m. and then I have to be up at 6 a.m. to clean offices. Moving on. So then we cut to Mare. She's at the therapist, and the therapist is like, what's up, girl? You don't have to come anymore. What's up? Why are you here? And Mira's like, well, I'm starting to feel it again. Anxiety, because, of course, she's found Katie. And now I'm sure, because she's been back on, reinstated to the force, everybody's expecting her to solve this Aaron McMenon thing. So she's letting her know, I'm feeling the pressure to do well. Basically, the therapist is like, I really think that you're in trouble emotionally. I don't think you've processed the death of your son. I think you're hiding it behind this whole Katie thing at first, and then this Aaron thing. Like, you keep suffering behind these other issues and not dealing with your root issue, which is your son dying. Why don't you walk me through that day? Heavy. So basically, she said, he had been coming back and forth through the house. They had told the neighbors to watch out because he would come stealing stuff for drug money. And so then one of the neighbors called. Mare was out running errands. She told Siobhan to check on him, right? Siobhan gets there. She's calling Mare. Mare says she pretty much blacked out. She's on autopilot. Next thing you know, she's at the house. And she gets there. Siobhan's in a ball crying, goes up the attic stairs, and the boy done hung himself, child, from one of the beams. Heavy. First of all, that Siobhan found her brother. And then that, Mare found a child, hung, heavy. She says she tries to, get him down, but he was so heavy. Ugh. The writing, directing, it's just so brilliant. Heart-wrenching. Moving on. So, in the next scene, Mary gets a call from Bethy. And basically, Bethany's like, listen, I have not heard from my brother in 3 days. The neighbor said they saw him go in the house and not come back out. Mary goes in the house, and she sees Freddie's there. Freddie's overdosed. So she's scanning the room, and she sees a bag with McMenon, like a basketball jersey. So she opens the bag. There's a t-shirt with the date that's on the heart pendant, 5/29/17, I believe. And it says Ross Family Reunion. Bethany comes in, and, Mary tells her, don't come back. She basically tells her he's dead. Then we cut to Siobhan. So Siobhan is looking at a video of her brother, and he's singing a song, playing a song on the guitar about the first girl that broke his heart. So then we see Siobhan start a series of calls to Ann, basically blowing her up. And Ann sounded like she was ghosting her. So she basically calls and she's like, listen, I know you got this thing tonight, but I want to see you. So she's feeling the cling. She eats an edible, which probably only amplifies that. Call, text, shoop. That's all you hear, like 13, 14 blue lines, child. No response. Then she starts drinking. You can answer the phone. Belligerent, child. Bad. So then her friends come by and take her out. So then we cut to a memorial for Freddie. Bethany's there. Dawn is there. Lori's out there talking to Mare. So Mare asks her about the t-shirt. I saw this t-shirt that had 5/29 Ross Family Reunion. Did you go? She was like, yeah. John, her cheating ass husband, got a room. No, got a room, child. John got 2 cabins. Decided it was right after Kenny's wife, Aaron's mom, passed away from leukemia. Brought everybody up there to cheer them up. They were fishing, camping, 2 cabins. She said that Aaron and Kenny stayed in there with Billy. Of course, it was Maura, Ryan, Lori, and John in the other cabin. A lot of drinking, okay? He also said it rained. She also said it rained a lot. So they were inside a lot. A lot of drinking. We said again, let's reemphasize that, okay? All right, so then Dawn comes outside and she's like, Lori, can I talk to Mare? So she's like, yeah, of course. So she tells Mare that, I'm sorry I haven't been by. I've been spending time with Katie, of course. And Mare's like, it's cool, I understand. She was like, I'm so sorry, basically, that I was, so mean to you. Didn't cut you a break. Thank you so much for bringing her home. And, Mare's like, of course, how is she? She's like, she's really not doing well, having night terrors. And she said, but, to be totally honest, she really wasn't doing well before she got kidnapped. So, oof. But she's glad to have her back. Moving on. So then we cut to Mare's house. Siobhan is being walked upstairs by her friends. She's drunk, of course. And Mare meets them. She's like, y'all go home. I'll take care of Siobhan. So she's trying to take Siobhan's clothes off. Siobhan is drunk. And she's like, I hate you. I hate that I was the one that found Kevin. It should have been you. And of course, Mare is fighting this. Of course, she's like, probably like, God damn, I just dealt with this today, ugh. But in the theme of mothers again, she apologizes. She was like, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Which I thought was so healing, probably very cathartic for the both of them. It's beautiful. Resolution. Moving on. Then we cut to John gets home at his dad's. And John is like, I bought steaks. We're going to eat steaks tonight. And the dad is shaking, right? So John got the phone about to call the doctor, thinking he having insulin withdrawal, needs some damn insulin. I don't know, child. He's like, I got something to tell you. He said, the night of Frank's engagement party, which is the night Aaron was killed, I came downstairs. Billy came home like 3 or 4 in the morning. He was covered in blood in the laundry room. John paused. He was like, covered in blood? What did you ask him? He was like, no. He slammed the door, and I just went out. Yeah. Moving on. He asked John, what are we going to do about this? Again, looking at John for help, who I think is the killer. But all right, here we go. I'm going to insert a theory here. This is what I think happened now. I think because everybody was drinking up at the family reunion, John crept over where Peter slept, child, and got it on with Aaron. And I feel like Billy was too. Then we cut to, we're at the prison. Mare and Carter are there to see Kenny to ask him about the family reunion. And Kenny was like, yeah, we were there in the Poconos. No, first she asked him, how did Freddie get these clothes? And he said, I know it's morbid, but, basically he said he didn't have any money to buy his daughter anything for her birthday. He said, I thought it'd be cool if somebody was using Aaron's things. So he told him he could go over there and get some of her stuff. So that's how he got the clothing. She then goes on to ask him about the reunion. He said, yeah, it was in the Poconos. It was really cool. We all went there. We were fishing. And it was a lot of drinking again that was brought up. She also asked about the heart pendant. And he said, are you sure Dylan didn't give it to her? He was like, no, we know Dylan didn't give it to her. He's like, I don't know where she got it from. Then we see Mare dropping off Drew at his mama's. And she's like, I love you, of course, and says, take care of him. So cool. He's going to see his mama. He looked like he was happy to be there. Didn't turn around and look back. Then we go to Mare going to Frank's. And she's basically telling Frank, well, first she's like, where's Faye? Frank is like, she's gone at her mom's. And Mare girl, by a clue, child. He's like, what happened? What do you think happened, ma'am? You accused him of fathering this child with this underage girl. She was pressed. Faye was like, holla. Okay, moving on. So basically, he was like, looks like we're going to lose Drew. I talked to the lawyer. And Mare was real cool. I feel like her releasing some of that stuff with the psychologist, having this, cathartic experience with Siobhan. She is feeling, let that child live. That's his mom. And if she going to get her shit together and, do right by Drew, that's all we can ask for. And, of course, Frank is like, who are you? And what have you done with Mare? Moving on. We cut to Jess. Jess is walking out of her apartment and up drives Daddy Dark and Sean, child. And they're like, what's up, Jess? What's up, slut? And Jess is like, hello. He's like, so you telling people about us burning journals? And so she runs, cuts to them chasing her, right? So then we cut to Carrie and Drew. And I almost had a heart attack. Just a minute. Okay. So we cut to Carrie and Drew. They're in the bathtub. And they're playing with the cars, you know, being real fun. We see Carrie starting to lean. The water is continuing to run. It's concerning me. All right, so in this next scene, we see Dylan and Sean chasing after Jess still. So they're chasing her. She hides under a car. They're walking. Basically, they yank her from under the car. Child, scared me half to death. He puts a gun to her face and says, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to blow your head off. Just like Aaron Ted got blown up. But what we already know is that he was holding what looked like, I don't know, a 9mm gun or something. Like, it didn't look like that old-timey gun that was used in Aaron's murder. Okay, so moving on. So then we cut to Lori and John. John's at the house, child, seeing the kids. Ugh. Of course, he's like, thanks for letting me come see the kids. And she's like, you're welcome. She was like, listen, do you remember the family reunion? Baby John was, shifty. She's like, you know if anything happened to Aaron? What do you mean happened? Like, did anything happen? You know, between her and Billy, maybe. He was like, no, but I'll talk to him. And he said, why do you ask? She said, Mare was asking. Pressed. Shook. Moving on. Oh, God, we cut back to Carrie and Drew. Carrie's on the side of the tub, sleep, child. It's an aerial view. Drew is face down in the water. Heart attack. Fortunately, he jumps up. He's like, Mommy, I can hold my breath forever. It's that moment when you realize your child is safe, but you kind of want to smack the shit out of him for scaring the hell out of you. But he's fine, okay? He's all right. Hopefully, that'll make her see either you need to lose one of these damn jobs or lose your child. Or share this time with Mare. Because, girl, this is not going to do it. Okay, moving on. So, in the next scene, we see John's bitch ass talking to his brother, basically saying, I need to hear you say that you murdered Aaron. Mare knows. She's asking questions. It's only a matter of time. I need you to say this. And, unfortunately, I feel like a mixture of intimidated, probably a little drunk, and hazy. Just hazy. He was probably drunk as hell during that Poconos trip the whole time. Don't about know all that happened. And probably the same thing with this murder. But the only thing that's tripping me up is, where the hell does the Get Fresh crew come in at? Like, how were Dylan, Sean, and Jess involved in this? I don't know. So we then see John goes to Lori and is like, listen, Billy has confessed. We need you to keep this under wraps. Don't tell Mare. Basically, you need to protect this family. And that's that on that. And she agrees. Moving on. So then we cut to John and Billy back at the house. Dad's house. And it's the next morning. And Billy get up, baby, with a new attitude, patted the bell. He's like, listen, I'm ready to confess. Like, he's got this atonement tease, child. And Baby John was like, are you sure you want to do that? And at that moment, I'm like, even more committed to John being the killer. Not only the killer, but the daddy too. Because here's the thing. If Billy confesses, they're going to test his DNA, and it's going to reveal that he is not the father, but there's a familial tie as well. We know it ain't the daddy, the granddaddy. I mean, you know, they daddy child. We know it ain't Papa Smurf child. It's John's bitch ass, okay? And John knows that because he's been playing the strings, playing the fiddles his whole life with everybody. So John is like, so you're going to confess? And Billy's like, yeah. So John's like, why don't we go fishing at Dad's cabin one more time before you do that, you know, before the jig's up. And Billy hesitates, so he's like, okay. So they're getting ready to go on this fishing trip. And this was a scene from the preview, right? Where Billy opens his tackle box and there's a gun in there. And when I saw it at first, I thought that he was taking that gun like they were doing a reenactment of the murder, right? Because, of course, I thought that Billy was the father, right? So, baby, Billy sees, they're packing the truck. Billy looks in this tackle box to put something else in there and sees this gun. And baby, you can see the sober come on his face. He was like, this is, like, once again, y'all, this is not a test. My brother, it's like it all came to him at once. My brother's finna try to kill me. He got his hands all in this. And if I'm gone and there's no DNA of me, then why would they have a reason to test his bitch ass? All right, so then it cuts to Mare is at the jewelry store to see who bought this pendant. The jewelry maker is like, yeah, that's from our store. The girl tried to come and return it, but was really upset when we told her once it's engraved, we don't buy it back. She was probably trying to get some of that DJ earphone money, child. And brought the receipt, and it just said gross. Ugh. But of course, I can't give us too much because, I still got a few edges left. I got to snatch them next episode. Hope they do. Mare is on her way she goes see Lori. Lori spills the beans, tells her that Billy is, the killer. He confessed and told her where Billy and John were. So she's going to see them. She calls Chief Carter and says, look, I know that Billy is the father. Billy killed her. He's confessed. I'm going to the lake where they are. And of course, he tells her, wait for backup. She does not. She continues to go. Then we cut to Jess. Sergeant Shaky comes in. The rookie, Trummer, whatever, Shaky, comes in and he's like, Jess is here and she's got information on Aaron's murder. Baby, Jess comes in there with her mom and her mama like, give him the picture. She gives Shaky that picture. Shaky gives it on over to, she gives it directly to Carter, Chief Cutie. And all you see is the back and the light shines through, and y'all, I strain try to see, but if I could get any images of the shadow coming through this picture, and it looked like somebody standing with Aaron with an arm around her. Now remember, when Mare called Carter and said that she was on her way to see John and Billy, she told him Billy confessed and Billy's the father. So when Carter saw the picture, he told Tramer or the secretary, call Mare and call her Rex. Nah, okay? So clearly it's not Billy. Gotta be John. Gotta be. But what's gonna snatch my edges is how Dylan and them ties into this child. I don't know, but I'm excited to see the next episode. It's the finale. It's gonna be amazing. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. If you're new, be happy, be well, be blessed, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Yeah, so here's my theory. I think John is the daddy and the killer. I think there was a drunk situation where it's like John would do it, then he would have Billy do it. Except for with the killing, I feel like maybe John killed her and Billy was passed out somewhere close and was somewhere near. Maybe he put his clothes on Billy and Billy just woke up with blood all over him, passed out somewhere, child. I don't know. Crunk though. Crunk.